Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. I want to get into the rain totals first. I know that's not always the flashiest thing to show. I want to show you the models, of course, on what could develop across the Caribbean as we get into the weekend and next week. But I really want to highlight the rain. I know that's maybe not the most eye-catching stuff, but I do this channel for safety. So let's start with that. Panama North, we've seen that rain. We've had the rain and storms around parts of Jamaica, the Cayman Islands. Panama Canal, on the flip side, we're doing better. Some of us need the rain, but the issue is it's going to be way too much. Look at that rain building from Jamaica back through Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and it's going to build for the next few days. So starting out with the rain, we are in monitor mode. I've shifted a little bit over toward Jamaica, Cayman Islands, of course. We are still going to deal with that flood threat, but as far as an even higher substantial or chance of a flooding threat, we're looking at Jamaica back toward Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, back through the British and U.S. Virgin Islands, and we're going to be on the edge of heavier rain. Parts of the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, but even parts of Cuba and the Cayman Islands, again, watching all of us across the northern Caribbean. And this is into next week. That is the issue. So let me begin with the rain totals, and then I promise I will get to those computer models and that chance of development. But you see in Jamaica, it's going to be split, and this forecast has held, right? Some of us have gotten some heavier rain. We had some rain and storms in Montego Bay, for example. Some of us have been on the dry side, and it's going to be a bit split. Best chance of rain will be from Kingston off toward the eastern side as we go over the next few days. But some spots could get close to 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches of rain, while some of us not a whole lot. So it's going to be scattered, but where we get it in Jamaica, it could be on the heavier side. Let me know in the comments. Put your location and what you're getting or even not getting to kind of help this weather community out. Now, here's Haiti. By the way, here we get into the east end of Cuba, watching that as well. Here's Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So you get over toward Jacmel, Boston Blue, you get over toward the higher terrain. The river crossings are concerned. We have that big one right outside of Jacmel. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on these rivers the next few days. The rock slides, if you're traveling from, say, Jacmel back toward Port-au-Prince, weaving around the mountains, watch out for some of the debris coming off some of the sides of the mountains. Cap Haitian, we get over toward the northern end. It'll be split as far as some of the heaviest areas of rain, but you see some of these white shadings showing up. That's upwards of at least 4 inches of rain or 100 millimeters of rain. And we could even see some of this, some of these red shadings showing up in Haiti, which could be as high as 8 inches of rain or 200 millimeters of rain. So as we swing back toward the Dominican Republic, it's just going to be building the next few days. We're watching that potential of mudslides, landslides. We'll get some spots that could top out around 200 millimeters of rain or 8 inches of rain in the Dominican Republic. So high risk of that flooding. Please be mindful of that. Thank you for spreading the word about this across Hispaniola, getting the word out in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. It's not a named system, but that flood threat is going to be high, and it only gets higher into the weekend. Same thing, Puerto Rico, back through the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. Look at this yellow shading showing up. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to definitely get 10 inches of rain or 250 millimeters of rain in Tortola, but this gives us a feel that that is a potential. But this pocket may be over here over the open waters, or it could be back toward Puerto Rico. But point being, on this map, St. Croix back toward Tortola, swinging back toward Puerto Rico, we're going to see some areas of very heavy rain that's going to lead to the flooding and, of course, impacting the power grid right through the weekend into next week. Now, as promised, getting to the models and the chance of development. Now, here's the American model. The American model, as I was showing you yesterday, a little bit less aggressive with development. I've been leaning the last few days to the European model, which I'll show you in just a moment for kind of what will happen with this area. But the biggest point is just that rain surge the next few days. This is jumping ahead into Friday, and you see that rain still near Haiti, the DR, Puerto Rico, and then it even starts to pick up around Guadeloupe, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Martin. We're going to see a better chance of rain trying to creep toward the Eastern Caribbean and even the ABC Islands, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire by the end of the week and the weekend. That rain chance is going to be higher. So I'm going to continue to break that down island by island at the end of each video. But you can see the problem here. This is Sunday, still watching the rain that is around Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, parts of the Bahamas. But then what's going to happen is it looks like these fronts up to the north are not a huge factor. So that moisture is just going to start to build a little bit more to the west. More of the models are showing this surge of moisture, but then kind of switching some areas off to the west. So this is really stuck in place. I've been highlighting that. I highlighted that in yesterday's video. Look at this rain. This is by Tuesday. This is not a good good setup at all. I can't stress that enough. We're going to see the repeat areas of rain. Then the American model shows this little area near the Cayman Islands trying to get toward Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula over toward Cuba that may try to spin up somewhat. Here are these fronts back toward the U.S. that sometimes kind of drag these things back to the north or can act as blockers, but going out in time. This here, by the way, is over a week from now. This is not tomorrow. This is next Thursday, the following Thursday. And you see it's not showing any sort of hurricane, but just a couple spots we'll watch for that potential of a tropical depression or tropical storm to form. But I started with the rain for good reason, and you see it here. This is over a week from now, and we're still going to be dealing with the rain. Now, a lot of us, at least some of us, the wettest month we have in parts of the Caribbean is in October. It could be even wet into early November. And we're going to see that and then some. So that higher risk of flooding. Now, if I haven't mentioned your spots, say Trinidad and Tobago, for example, keeping an eye on us too. But if we're drier, we're hotter this time of year. But we could see even some of this moisture building back toward parts of the southeastern Caribbean. But here's what's going on. This is the European model. And I mentioned a couple days ago, this is what I've been leaning to for my forecast. Just lots of rain. Here's Jamaica. Here we are in Jamaica, here's Haiti, Cuba, get over toward the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. Here's Belize, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, just to kind of orient you. Puerto Rico right through here. This is going out in time. The blocker, that area of high pressure to the north. So let's just swing out into the weekend. This here is by Saturday, and you still see the heavy amounts of rain, just big areas of rain, and all the models have been in good agreement with this, which has been helpful so that I can give you the heads up, which I've been doing for days and days about all of this rain. So we have these almost 2 pockets of rain that are sitting over the Caribbean, and then we're going to see this little area, just like the American model, swing back toward the west. Here are those fronts across the U.S., but these fronts haven't been a big factor. They kind of fizzle out near Bermuda, so overall high pressure has been dominant to the north. That's been keeping things, all of this action south of Florida, for example, all of this right through the Caribbean, and this gets into next week. So just flipping out in time here, this is by next Monday, Tuesday, so we're looking at about a week from now. This is by Wednesday of next week. You see that big area of high pressure that's really locked in. A week from now, still tons of green on the map, showing those heavy areas of rain that will still be with us. There's that dominant area of high pressure. It is a blocker, keeping this rain down here. Here are these fronts, which haven't done a whole lot, but it may eventually help to kind of surge a little bit of rain, more so up toward the Cayman Islands and Cuba by the time we get into next week. And it's just as far as will something develop? Will something become patty? That's just a wait and see. As I mentioned, we're watching the flooding. That is the big threat. We don't need a name system, but we'll just see how it evolves if anything does want to spin up. This is going out in time. This here is deeper. This is about 10, 11 days from now, and you still see a lot of areas of rain, these fronts around. So for the long haul, we are going to be tracking big areas of rain, which is super important. So thank you for sharing this channel, so I'll be able to help get the information out to those who need it as we go forward. So those are the two models. The American model not showing as much now, maybe a tropical storm down the road, we'll see. The European model not showing much in the way of development, both showing a ton of rain. The Canadian model though, continues to insist on some sort of hurricane eventually developing out of that. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I'm really not sure, because this would be well down the road, maybe into next week. But the Canadian model and now the Icon German model, they're both showing something spinning up. The Icon model is showing a tropical storm eventually developing. What I am seeing with these models, these four models now, the American, European, the Canadian I just showed you, and the American or the Icon model, they're all showing eventually next week this area drifting back toward the west, and they are hinting at some development. So know that in Jamaica, as you know, Cayman Islands, as you know, Cuba, Mexico, back toward Belize. If something does develop, I will give you that very early heads up, but giving you that heads up now about that substantial flood threat that is with us. But these water temperatures are very warm in the Caribbean, and that's why we're watching it with a ton of rain around, these disturbances nearby, giving us the flooding. The water temperature is 30, 31 degrees Celsius, 86 to about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Water temperatures across much of the Gulf of Mexico, those have cooled down around 27-ish, 26 degrees Celsius. So we're looking at 70s for a lot of us in the water in parts of the Gulf of Mexico. It has cooled down 70s and still some 80s around, but the real warm stuff down in the Caribbean. That's one of the reasons that eventually next week something may try to develop. But you'll get the heads up on that first if it does. Now, here's that closer look to kind of zoom down. Here's Trinidad, ABC Islands, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, not as much, but still seeing that rain. Panama, Costa Rica, keep me posted. Nicaragua, scattered areas of rain back through Honduras, Belize, Mexico, Guatemala, and El Salvador. There's that surge of rain right in through here, spreading through the northern Caribbean and northeastern Caribbean as we work our way toward the end of the week. This here is by Friday. So you see what I was talking about, that rain chance picking up over toward Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda. We're going to St. Kitts and Nevis. The rain chance is going to eventually pick up later this week and into the weekend. So if this area gets a name, the next name on the list is Patty. It has been such a high impact season with so many devastating storms. Alberto ran into Mexico, of course, one of the biggest ones of the season. Beryl. It all started with Beryl. Late June, early July, remember that? Just the devastation, Grenada, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and that thing made its way all the way back into Texas. Now, the seas are going to be very high, especially the Atlantic waters. Well, here's meters, here's feet to keep you covered. Right back through the Bahamas, northern side of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. That's because as these fronts dive down, they just kind of die out. High pressure will be around. With that area of high pressure, you just have those swells that continue to work their way in from the east and from the northeast, so those seas build. So we're going to see everything choppier, even some dangerous seas that will be possible near the Turks and Caicos. This here is by the upcoming weekend, so watching that spot. And then, of course, if anything does develop next week in the Caribbean, of course, those seas would be building. Eastern Pacific side, as I mentioned yesterday, not seeing as much development out of these big blobs here, all away from Mexico, all away from Guatemala and El Salvador. Nothing that's going to spin up toward California. Here's Hawaii, though, watching these spots, not seeing too much in the way of development. Conditions both in the water and up above our heads are not super conducive for development. These may become tropical storms, but as we work our way, let's just take a head into the weekend. Here's Hawaii. You see, again, both of these spots not showing a ton, watching another little area to watch. So a few areas just to monitor in here, Eastern Pacific side, but nothing at this point that seems too terribly alarming. Most of the action staying over the water. Now, Bermuda, high pressure has been on top of Bermuda, and that's actually keeping all of this action down in the Caribbean. Sometimes patterns get stuck. It's a blocking pattern. Not that nothing happens. We have these fronts moving by. You see one over toward the Great Lakes in Quebec. You get these fronts, but then they kind of wash out. High pressure quickly builds back in. Watching out, you can see some of that rain right there. This is on our Friday over toward Newfoundland. Backside of these fronts, of course, the colder weather and that snow potential. So watching the fronts, Atlantic region of Canada, back through Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, over toward New Brunswick. Now, I covered some of the rain totals. I zoomed down. I want to just take you around. You see, this is that spot I was watching near Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, back through Jamaica, where we have that substantial flood threat. But as we work our way across the northern Caribbean and then back into the northeastern Caribbean, here's a spot I didn't show you earlier. Look how we're right on the edge. Here's Antigua, over toward Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis. We are going to be right on the edge of really heavy rain, so I'll be able to break it down island by island over the next 2 days. But a heads up, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Saba, Statia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, and Antigua, Barbuda on the edge of Montserrat. Some of us are going to see some very heavy rain trying to build in on Friday. So we'll just see how it kind of shakes out, but giving you that heads up. So thank you for sharing this channel. Even Dominica South, we could see a few showers and storms. But as I was showing you, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, not as much. We're on the drier side, Suriname, Guyana, northeastern Venezuela, but still those higher totals. Here's Panama. Here's Costa Rica. I mentioned the Panama Canal is doing better. Forecast on that just shows that climb in the water levels as we work our way through the month of November. Some spots here will get anywhere from 150 millimeters to 200 millimeters of rain for a 3-day total. That's 6 to 8 inches, and then scattered about throughout Central America. Could see still some higher totals near Cozumel over toward Cancun, Mexico City, isolated shower, and watching a few fronts trying to move by parts of Texas. So 60 to 70% chance of rain in Jamaica. We'll monitor that flood threat together in the comments section. Cayman Islands, we still have some of that rain around today. Rain chance goes down tomorrow. Let me know if you do have any flooding. Keep me posted. Trinidad and Tobago, we're on the hot side. Rain chance just scattered about. Barbados, a 40 to 50% chance the next 2 days. The next couple days, St. Lucia, we're running at about a 50% chance. A 20 to 30% chance in Grenada. Rain chance is relatively low for us in Grenada. Even over towards St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you see on Friday, rain chance about 30%. 30 to 40% chance in Martinique, and just kind of bouncing around in Dominica. Rain chance will start to bump up some later this week. And then we'll keep an eye on points to the north. Guadeloupe, 50% chance of rain Thursday and Friday. But you see it here. By the time we get into Friday, we need to monitor how close this heavy rain gets to us. Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat. Friday, that rain chance gets higher. We will be watching it together to see if that rain kind of surges in from the west. So Anguilla, St. Bart's, if this big area of rain moves in, we're going to see that flood potential Friday into Saturday. We'll see it building St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. So giving you that heads up across the northeastern Caribbean for us with that higher chance of rain. Of course, Puerto Rico, we are going to monitor that risk of flooding from here on out. Same thing, U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Some of our islands may be okay and get some passing showers while others are just getting dumped on. That's what I was mentioning. Put the location in the comment section. Bahamas, we've been better watching out for the elevated seas, but southern Bahamas back through the Turks and Caicos, that's where that rain chance is elevated. Watching out for some heavy areas of rain the next several days right across the Dominican Republic. Some heavy areas of rain possible. Watching the rivers right through Haiti as we swing through the end of the week. Belize, scattered areas of rain. We're staying on the unsettled side, about a 50% chance. And then you see by the end of the week, Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, that rain chance is going to get higher. We're finally going to get a bump up in that rain chance Friday and then maybe even into Saturday. While Guyana, we're generally dry, staying on the hot side as we swing back towards Suriname. Northeastern Venezuela, rain chance stays on the low side. Northern Venezuela as a whole. Costa Rica, Panama, pockets of rain. Let me know how you're doing. Watching out for that rain chance scattered about. Nicaragua, scattered about as we get back through Honduras. Overall, about a 40 to 50% chance. And the rain chance a little higher, Guatemala and El Salvador tomorrow and Friday, a 60% chance. Mexico City, very isolated, 40 to 50% chance across the Yucatan Peninsula, but higher on the eastern side, on the Caribbean side, not as much Merida over toward Campeche. Northern Colombia, we've seen those pockets of rain as well, and we'll see that getting enhanced the next few days, while northern Venezuela, just that 30% chance. Bermuda, 10% chance of a shower, that's it, with high pressure in control. So the areas of rain just getting stuck in place, even becoming more widespread. The rain amounts are going to build for days. You may get some breaks, but we've seen, and I've been watching that in the comment section, just how some of these river levels have been rising. So dangerous rivers, watching out for the mudslides, and we'll be tracking all of this through the weekend into next week, and then I'll monitor to see if we have any development. So thank you for getting the word out about this kind of prolonged rain event and prolonged flood threat. I hope you have a good and safe rest of your day.